We talk it out, no time to waste. Ooh, yeah. Face to face, we set the pace. Hey, hey. Love so strong, no need to race. We hold it tight in every space, making it last. Oh, making it last. Yeah, yeah. Through the future, through the past. Building it high, keeping it fast. Communication, making it last. Making it last. Oh, making it last. Yeah, yeah. Through the future, through the past. Building it high, keeping it fast. Communication, making it last.
It's time for another conversation. Welcome to Making It Last podcast, where it's all about helping us to have better relationships, not just with ourselves, but with other people. And this time around, I'm going to have a conversation with very busy lady. It took some months to get her, some reveling in the moment. So if you see me smiling extra, that would be why. I have Nadine Collins. She's a coach, she's a speaker, she's an author. But before we get into what we're going to be unpacking in this conversation, before we started recording, you told me that you coach females. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yes, thanks so much for having me and for your patience as well, in just working with me in on my schedule. So yes, I am an international speaker. I'm also an author of 12 books, and I have
Wow.
12 in publication that's coming out this year, 2026.
Mm-hmm.
And I work with women globally as a coach and mentor to them, helping them to build their speaking platforms and also to write and publish their books. So the very thing that I do, I help women do it because I believe there's enough room for all of us to shine,
Love it.
enough room for all of us to become, and for us to recognize we're not competition, we're just proof here and there. It can be done. Let's make it happen. And so I'm excited about that.
Love it. Love it. All right. So this topic was triggered by a post you had on Facebook some months ago, the whole idea of prescriptive Christianity. So what we're
Uh-huh.
going to be unpacking is how to avoid prescriptive Christianity. So set a context and tell us what prescriptive Christianity is.
Well, I am excited about this because this started really from just my own personal experiences. So I'm Christian. I grew up
Hmm.
in church, I've always been in church, and I'm a woman of prayer because a lot of my programs, like 9 of the books that I have published so far, are in my prayer series. I also have an
Okay.
online prayer class that I launched in 2018. I have a program on an international Christian TV station on prayer. And so that's what I travel globally speaking about 95% of the time is on prayer. And so
Okay.
imagine me going through maybe the lowest moments of my life, right? Last year, for example, being a really hard year
Hmm.
and going through stuff, and I'm meeting with my friends every week to pray on a Tuesday morning, and or somebody speaking to you, and you maybe try to share just a little with them about what you're going through, and then they will say something to you about pray about it. Let me tell you. While I understand the value of praying about things, while I believe in the power of prayer, in a moment like that, just pushing aside my feeling or my experience and tell me pray about it feels like a prescription that's not attending to my need. And so that's where it all started for me, where I told my friends, I literally worded it before I wrote that post as like, I just despise this prescriptive Christianity. Stop just telling people to do this without taking time to
Hmm.
listen to the
Hmm.
context of the experience without recognizing that the individual may be very well aware of what you're saying that they should be doing, but in the moment of distress and sadness and maybe even like depressing sometimes that some of us go through in life as a result of even
Hmm.
our call, just prescribing to me, pray 3 times a day and drink some water and jump, it's not going to help me. I need somebody who can listen to me. And so that's kind of what I speak about when I talk about, prescriptive Christianity, because it's like People are not there to help. They try to silence you instead of trying to help you
Mm-hmm.
to heal. And so, yes, I teach the word. Yes, I believe in the word. I believe in scripture. I believe in the power of God to transform lives. But that I was struggling deeply with that prescriptive Christianity where people just want to give you that answer for everything. Just read this text, a verse for every wound that you have, a solution for every situation, but not making
Mm-hmm.
any space to deal with my reality. I think it's important for us to understand that it's not okay.
Okay. Before we get to the whole idea of how to avoid it, how do you think we've gotten to that point, or why is it that people think it's necessary to say, hey, this is the way to, deal with spiritual matters or issues?
Yeah, that's a real deep question. I wish I had time
Mm-hmm.
to have processed it before, but I will say this on the spot,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Partly why we may do stuff like that, it's
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, not all times, sometimes it's because we're actually our relationship with God is not where as deep as it should be.
Okay.
So what we do is we spiritualize everything, okay?
Ah, okay.
Because it's easy to do. So you have this problem, code this text. Now, mind you, again, I am a woman of the word. I believe in the word. Sometimes people reach out to me and I give them a word for their situation, but that does not remove the responsibility, for example, of hearing the person out. It doesn't
Ah,
remove the
okay.
responsibility of, you know, you trying to understand where you're coming from. So for me in ministry is very difficult because at this stage of my life, I honestly do not have the capacity to handle everybody's stories because I've
Mm.
been pressed
Okay.
enough, okay?
Okay.
And
Okay.
so I cannot give myself, for example, to every situation and every person and every problem and stuff like that. So sometimes it's even I would be guilty of saying, hey, and I might not say just claim this word, I might say something, and I had to start shifting how I say things. So, for example, someone reached out to me recently and I said to her, she asked me, she said, I have no one to I think talk to or pray for me, whatever, whatever. And I said to her, I'm really sorry to hear that. Can you reach out to maybe a pastor in your area or a counselor in your area to have a talk with them? Because at this point in my life, I
You
said, I
cannot,
have
yeah,
so
fair
much
enough.
going on. And I explained and I said, so I don't have the emotional, physical, spiritual, psychological capacity to be able to have a conversation with you. Okay. Now, if I took the prescriptive Christianity approach, all I would have said was, hey, I'm really sorry to hear that. And hey, you can claim this text and claim that text. And I think we got to the point of saying that to people because a lot of times we do not really genuinely care about people.
Mm.
And so it's just
Sad but true.
yeah, we meet people and you go to church, you meet somebody, you say, hey, or even on the road or on the job, hey, the person, you ask the person, how are you doing? Because we do it for pleasantries. And
Yeah.
the person opened their mouth to say, hey, I am, but we're already gone on our way,
Yep. Yep.
right? To care means, hey, how are you doing? And you actually wait to listen to hear the response. Because when I was in preschool, right, they told us, we were taught from very early, how are you doing? I am fine, thank you. We were
Mm-hmm.
programmed,
Mm-hmm.
pre-programmed with a response to the
Mm-hmm.
question, how are you? But the truth is, I am not okay.
Mm-hmm.
So who's going to take the time when they ask me, oh, Nadine, how are you doing today? I'm not okay. And I remember I was somewhere having lunch 3 weeks ago, and a friend walked up to me and he said to me, Nadine, how are you doing today? I said, to be honest, I'm not fine. And we were in the midst of close to maybe 40, 50 people. We were having lunch. It was a huge lunch. And I said, I'm not okay. And I said, right now, I'm just trying to hold back my tears.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I said I'm not fine. And I can't remember what happened, but then when we got to the table to eat, he said, I really admire your honesty. Because the truth is that I'm not okay. Why would I say I'm okay? And so why
Yeah.
do we do the prescriptive thing? Because it's easy
Mm-hmm.
because it means we do
Mm-hmm.
not have to stay to listen to what the person is really going through. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's because we have not had an encounter with God, but we know about the word. And so if we had an encounter with God, then we would probably in the moment, I don't want to judge anybody in that moment, just find it just easy to just push a text on them. Or sometimes we are so pharisaical in our thinking that we just want to give everybody a text for every situation,
Mm.
but we are absent.
Yeah.
So we'll give
Yeah.
you a text. This is going to be good for you, but I
Mm-hmm.
cannot be present. Again, like I'm saying, we cannot always be. But if we cannot be, we can probably say something versus giving somebody a pill to take, but you don't know what the problem really is. So you're giving me Tylenol, you're giving me
Mm,
Panadol, you're giving me some how do you call them, painkiller.
mm-hmm.
No idea what my problem is. So that's kind of challenging.
We talk it out, no time to waste. Ooh, yeah. Face to face, we set the pace. Hey, hey. Love so strong, no need to race.
Hi, I'm Dr. Nadine Collins, and today we're talking about prescriptive Christianity. Let's pause for a moment to get a word from our partners.
Alright, so we just taking a brief time out for a moment to say a big thank you to our MC, Noreen Daly. She did a wonderful job, and I would recommend her. I would recommend that you have her at any event that you have coming up. So from the Bronx, thank you, Miss Daly. Thank you so much.
In a world full of noise, Sound Media delivers voices that matter. From podcasts that challenge and inspire, to streaming TV that uplifts and informs, to music and stories you won't hear anywhere else. This is media built for community, culture, and truth. Independent, bold, unfiltered. Streaming worldwide and growing every day. Download, listen, watch. Join the movement that puts real voices front and center. Sound Media, streaming innovation amplified.
Langdo Language Institute was created to meet your language and communication needs. All of our packages were created just for you. We are passionate about language and dedicated to your success. We offer the CSEC English program, the Study Buddy program, the Get Ahead with English program, and the Business Communication program. Contact us at 767-285-0938 or email us at landolanguage@gmail.com. Because the real question is, how can we help you?
Welcome back.
We talk it out, no time to waste. Ooh, yeah. Face to face, we set the pace. Hey, hey. Love so strong, no need to race.
Do you think then that one of the ways to avoid it, prescriptive Christianity, is for people to actually take the time to really have that deep relationship with God and the Word? Is that one way then?
Yeah, I think we have to care about people
Okay,
to
okay.
to remove or prevent ourselves from prescribing and prescribing and prescribing. We would need to have a heart like Jesus,
Okay.
a heart that cares, a heart that stops you on your way to doing your business, to check in for other people, the same type of heart that the Samaritan had that would cause him to stop on this wayside when other people who were supposedly Christians would pass by, because of course we're all busy, but it takes a different type of heart to be able to pause to attend onto somebody else's need without just giving them the prescription, you know? And I think the world is more and more devoid of that type of love and care. And I know we cannot always be all things to everybody. And some of us in our professions will probably demand so much more of us. And so we have to obviously be very balanced in being there for ourselves as much as we're there for others. But I think just this proclivity that we have to just give a text and, oh, you just do this, you
Mm-hmm.
just do that. It's like it's so ingrained in us. Before somebody tell you I'm not feeling well, oh, you should take this and that, but we didn't even hear the depth of the thing and what may be, the actual, precursor to it.
Mm-hmm.
We always have this solution on the
Mm-hmm.
end of our lip, on the end of our tongue for every problem without listening to the depth of it. And I think that's maybe the greater challenge for us.
I'm going to backtrack this a little bit because I believe that there are some people that even when you make an effort to exhibit that sort of care, they don't
Mhm.
have the capacity.
Mm,
to receive it. So
Mm,
what then?
that's deep. That's deep. Um, I'm wondering if
Mm-hmm.
someone who doesn't have the capacity to receive that would even
Mm-hmm.
be vulnerable enough to say, I'm not okay,
Ah, okay.
right?
Okay.
Because if you're not really vulnerable, if you're not open to receive that, usually these people are very closed off
Mm-hmm.
and give this, this false sense of security and confidence. Um, and so I'm wondering about that part. And but there are people definitely where we may become aware of an issue and may want to be there for them. They also don't have capacity to receive that. And of course, we cannot force ourselves on people, right? We can
Mm-hmm.
only be there for them in as much as they want us to be there for them. And I think all of us could put ourselves in a situation. So for example, maybe a friend will call and ask, Nadine, are you okay? I'll be like, I'm fine. I'm speaking to my aunt. She's 78 going on 79. Nadine, you okay? Yes, auntie, I'm fine.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes on for a few days, and we're talking for hours, but we're just talking about everything, but not everything. And
Mm-hmm.
then a few days later, and Nadine, are you sure you're okay? Yes, auntie, I'm fine. I know you're not okay, Nadine. I can feel that you're not okay. Same thing with friends. I might call, are you okay today? And the person will be like, I'm fine, but you can hear the tone of the voice. You can hear the energy in the voice. They're
Mm-hmm.
not
Mm-hmm.
okay. Now, based on the relationship that you have, there are a few ways to be there without prescribing anything. Guess
Yeah.
what? I'm praying for you. I can feel that you're not okay. I can feel that. I know you're not okay. You're not being yourself. I'm giving no prescription. I'm just offering my support silently, but letting you know I'm praying for you. I'm there and I check on you again tomorrow. Hey, just checking in. How are you feeling today? And do the same thing tomorrow and the next day until you're ready to get the call. That happened to me for a friend today for the
Mm-hmm.
past few days. I know she was not herself, but I'm not offering a prescription. I'm just saying, hey, I'm here. I'm praying for you. I can feel it. I know you're not well. But so some of us need to probably take more of that approach, the silent approach, the prayerful approach, the prayer support approach, versus just saying, hey, well, take that pill, you'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
That's what,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. As we're wrapping up the conversation though, Nadine, I believe more often than not in the church, and I'm saying this right across the board because I grew up in the church.
Hmm.
Sometimes that is the space more often than not where we expect to receive the care that we need and we don't. And I don't want to come off sounding like I'm bashing the church. What then would you say to our church people
Hmm.
to do better?
Hmm.
Really, in that regard, because more than any other space, I believe that is a space where people expect to get the care. And yes, even though that's the topic that we're talking about, how to avoid, it doesn't necessarily mean it's just from church people,
Hmm.
because I live in a country in Jamaica where they say we have a whole lot of churches. Sometimes that doesn't manifest itself in how we relate to each other, but that's for another conversation.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
what would you say as we're wrapping up to say, for those who can do better, do better?
You're right. In that piece that I wrote that brought us to this conversation, I said that prescriptive Christians mean well.
Okay.
Sometimes they're sincere, but that sincerity, it does not equal sensitivity. And so the
Mm,
danger is that when scripture is used to bypass pain, instead of, maybe walk people through it, then it becomes a tool of avoidance and the persons are not being able to heal. And so telling someone to just pray does not address their unresolved
mm,
trauma. And when we quote scripture, it doesn't automatically undo the years of the damage, the emotional damage that the person is facing. Sometimes even declaring victory does not replace the hard work of healing that needs to be done. And so faith does not mean denial. And that's what we need to learn in church. And
mm,
spirituality does not mean that we suppress things. You see, Jesus never rushed people past their pain. He asked the questions, he listened, and the Bible even tells that he wept, right?
mm,
He sat with the brokenhearted before he spoke healing. And so prescriptive Christianity often wants the outcome without the process, and that's where we have to grow. We want the breakthrough without, being honest, the deliverance without the awareness, and so on. And so what we need is space to name what hurts.
mm.
And so we need permission, for example, to grieve and not tell the person, you know, you're going to see your loved ones in heaven again. Okay. The person is in a better place. If the person was in a better place, all of us will be wanting to die now to be in the better place. Right. And so people need room to grieve. They need room to wrestle. They need safety to say, I'm not okay without being corrected, without being judged, without being directed. Because when there's unprocessed pain, it will not just disappear, it may hide. And when we hide these wounds, eventually they may surface in unhealthy ways.
Yep.
And so that's the reason why we really want to ensure that we're operating. Yes, we may mean well, but your wellness or the mindset of being of what you may be meaning, it's not going to provide the proper outcome. And so the word of God is powerful, but it's not meant to be weaponized. It's not meant to be weaponized to bypass the pain of others or invalidate their experience. And so not everything needs a prescription. Some things need your presence. Some things need your patience. Some things need your compassion. And that's where we could show up as better Christians when we recognize that instead of doing the prescriptions, how about I just be here for you? Okay. And so Jesus did not come, and that's why I'm grateful about him. He didn't offer the quick fixes, but he restored whole. He brought people back to wholeness. And so if our Christianity does not leave room for that type of humanity, we may be quoting the word, but we're not living it at heart. And that's the danger.
Love it. Excellent note to end on. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thanks for having me.
This was Making It Last podcast, where it's all about helping us to have better relationships, not just with ourselves, but with other people. I'm Nadine Daly. Until next time.
We talk it out, no time to waste. Face to face, we set the pace. Love so strong, no need to race. We hold it tight in every space, making it last. Oh, making it last. Yeah, through the future, through the past. Building it high, keeping it fast. Communication, making it last. Making it last. Oh, making it last. Yeah, through the future, through the past. Building it high, keeping it fast. Communication, making it last.